Are we doing an intro or anything like that?
Uh, this is the Disgruntled Crab and Rusty Culture most professional
Christmas.
review show! So here we are, final week of Christmas or December, however you want to say it. And we've watched good stuff, some bad stuff, and we're here with actually a crossover of our themes that we have going on. So it's a most professional crossover. It's a Batman Christmas special. Christmas with the Joker.
I love everything cross. Animal Crossing, crossovers, cross dressing, all of it. I love it all.
Oh, I see. We're going for the ESG
Jesus?
scores now. Perfect.
Jesus is a cross. We can hit all the audiences. Railroad workers, the blind.
Crisscross. They make you want to
Crisscross.
jump.
There, we ticked all our diversity boxes for this one now.
Possibly. And we probably angered all of them too. So I think we've done what we need to do.
Any sort of interaction is good interaction.
That's what I've heard. But from what I'm hearing from Disney, I'm going to say no, that's incorrect.
Oh, I was really going for the negative publicity angle.
Okay. So. See, that's what they're trying to go for too. And from everything I'm seeing, it's not working out for them.
Just like how Joker's plan didn't work out in this episode. Ooh, brought it back.
All right, just like a segue off the cliff. We can carry that forward. I will let you start us off with this episode.
I must just not like Christmas stuff, I've figured out, because I didn't like this one as much as I liked the first episode of Batman. Why didn't I like it? I think I just really don't like when Robin is in stuff. I'm just not a Robin person. I think Robin ruins Batman for me. It to me, it just takes away from the stoic lone wolf nature of Batman when Robin is with him. And like Batman was even cracking some jokes in this. I can't remember what the one he said was right off the bat. Oh, the "It's a Wonderful Life" joke that kept coming back. I was not a fan of it. How he kept going, "It is a wonderful life." I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this one.
Here is where we are actually going to agree on something.
Hooray!
Watching this, I'm like, this is the second episode they did, huh? Because there seems to be a drastic drop in quality from the pilot episode to this one. And I've watched some of the behind the scenes stuff. We won't go into it much, but one of the things that was brought up is that they were still trying to figure out the Joker at this point. So I can understand they're trying to get their feet wet. I just find it having such a great start with On Leather Wings to have this be the second episode, especially having Batman's main villain. It was all over the place. There was so much camp in this episode that also led into dire situations. He's got huge walking nutcrackers that are trying to kill Batman and Robin. It was a strange episode.
And Batman gets a pie in the face at one point for no particular reason.
That was the one thing that I actually really liked. I don't know why. I don't know why it stuck for me. But it just seemed like the Joker's master plan was to pie Batman in the face. So it seems like it was just one of the jokes for himself, and he didn't care who else really found it funny.
Come and get your Christmas present, or the kiddies get it.
Let them go, Joker. It's me you want.
Merry Christmas, Batman! Well, go on. Open it.
Don't do it, Batman!
Easy, Robin.
So just to start at the beginning of the episode, one thing I really didn't like about this is, in my mind, Batman is supposed to be this ultra genius. You know, he's really good at what he does, and that's why he's able to compete in this world of superpowered beings when he has no power. And they kind of start this episode off by making him look like an idiot. And I'm thinking specifically because Robin says, "Oh, we don't need to go out on Christmas. Villains don't do stuff on Christmas." And then there's the scene of the old lady and the person walking up behind him, and Batman swings in because he thinks a crime is about to happen. And it turns out the guy is just recovering the present for the old lady. And then Robin kind of rubs it into Batman that Batman was wrong. And to me, that just takes away from what makes Batman cool. You know, you're taking away his thing, which is he's this genius, this paragon of justice, and you're taking that completely away from him in that scene. And I don't know, I get it was done probably for a laugh, but I didn't like that it was at the expense of the character.
I didn't much care for that either. I'm trying not to speak too much about Robin because I think this episode does a real disservice to him just all over the place. I think I'll scratch that. This episode does a disservice to most of the characters that are involved in the show. So I think this one is unfortunately one that I don't see landing for many people. Even with you still have stellar performances by basically everybody involved. You can tell they're still putting the effort in to their voice acting. But looking at it across the board, the animation is nowhere near as stellar as it was in the first episode. There's a whole bunch of reused backgrounds and stuff to make the action appear like it's happening over a longer place. There's a train that's traveling by the same foreground a lot. There's a lot of the cheap tricks that they do in animation to save on budget. So I don't know if this one was one of the episodes that they saved budget on for stuff later. Looking through the episode lists, there's a whole bunch of really good episodes coming up from what I remember. And this one feels odd and out of place for all the other episodes. So I don't know why this one seems so drastically different.
And if you're gonna drop the ball, this is a weird one to do it on when you have probably your third most popular character after Batman and Robin in the Joker being the villain of this episode. And this is the one that kind of seems to stink. That it seems like a weird move.
That's what I found odd as well. It felt like for Batman the Animated Series, this is the introduction of the Joker. This is his first time out. And also it is the first introduction of Robin in this episode as well. And neither of them really feel like fleshed out characters.
No, Joker really feels in this episode like exactly as you said. They don't know what to do with him. Is he supposed to be funny? Is he supposed to be creepy? Is he supposed to be insane? Is he supposed to be smart? You get a little bit of all those things in this episode. There's scenes where he is an evil genius in a way where he's tricking Batman, and but there's also scenes where he's kind of an idiot. So it really feels like there's no identity here.
It feels like everybody is off character in this episode. So this one feels odd. Because again, looking at what episodes we got coming up, there is some great character development in some of these episodes. And this one, it feels like a throwaway episode. This is one I would say people could probably skip because there's not that much good in it. It doesn't feel up to the quality that the rest of the show kind of set.
Now it's interesting that you didn't like this one because I expected that I was gonna like this one and you weren't going to. So I think that kind of proves the rose-colored glasses theory from the last Batman episode wrong. That you're just looking back on this with nostalgia.
I was surprised to find that this one is much worse than I remember it being. Probably one of the big problems I have is there are the three characters that are kidnapped by the Joker. I couldn't remember who the female was in the show. They don't even mention her name. And I had to do some digging online to find out that, oh, she's quite a big part of the show later on without even being given a name in this episode.
Can I guess?
Sure, go ahead.
I have a couple guesses. First one, Barbara Gordon,
No,
Vicky Vale.
that is the closest you're probably going to get. Because
I give up.
she is a character for the animated series that was a reporter. So she's a big part as a reporter in the animated series, but she's not in the comics or anything. So she's one of the characters that was made for the animated series that didn't really carry on from that. I believe her name is Summer Gleason. I had to look it up, and I was like, is this just a throwaway character? And then I looked through the episode list. It's like, oh wow, she's in a lot of episodes. I just completely blocked her from my memory.
That is so weird. Why would you put them in there? This recurring character, namelessly. Because who else do we have? We have Gordon and Harvey Bullock was the other one, right?
Yes, Gordon.
Which is so weird to throw these characters in this position when we've just barely met them.
And not only that, but especially when the Joker is, this is Daddy Lawful and Mommy Lawful and Baby Lawful. And, well, she's a reporter. She's not law enforcement. Harvey Bullock and Commissioner Gordon, they make sense as the lawful family.
Well, you had to make the joke work.
But you should make the joke work then.
I guess when your name is the Joker, you should probably have better jokes.
Yes. He should definitely that should have gone around the table at least a couple more times, get a little more energy in it, get the other writers involved, get that nailed down.
Do you think, side note, do you think Joker practices to his goons? Do you think he has like a workshop session before he tries stuff live? Or do you think he just does everything live?
I'm trying to remember what they do in the show. I think there is some stuff that he's workshopping with them.
I really like the idea that he workshops stuff.
I really
hope that's the case.
I was kind of disappointed there wasn't more goons in this episode.
Were there any goons?
There was I know there was at least two. I don't know if they were
the bridge guys.
The bridge guys. I don't know if they were the same guys that had the Tommy guns at the recording studio, because there's two guys there as well. So it's two, possibly four, for a lot of insane traps as well.
I did like the idea, I just don't think it was executed well, that Joker was doing a Christmas special within this Christmas special. That like he hijacked that, and he was broadcasting out to the world. I thought that was a cool idea, and that feels Jokery, you know?
That it did feel good. I did enjoy the knockoff Jingle Bells that they got to have the Joker sing in a Batman episode. I was fine with that, even though the tree escape is ridiculous.
Jingle bells, Batman smelt, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away.
The tree rocket.
Yes, the tree rocket.
Yeah, that's how the episode opened. Like early on, it's that. So
it started off corny, and it got really campy after that as well.
But part of me wonders if that stuff was, I mean, obviously it was on purpose, but this is kind of fitting with what we see Christmas specials being. You know, they are like this campy, almost making fun of the subject matter thing. So maybe all of our criticisms, we're just criticizing what the Christmas special is. I don't know.
Then they shouldn't do a Christmas special Batman episode if it's not going to be an actual Batman episode.
Right. Make it a separate thing.
I'm beginning to think that this one probably wasn't planned as the second episode. I don't know if there was a thing where they had to throw this one in at a certain point because it feels out of place out of the one we just watched. There was not a single use of the grappling hook in this episode. They had to use a weird,
It was a weird like baton thing.
yeah, batarang that they throw around whatever, which I know the grappling hook is ridiculous as well, but it's at least makes more sense than having to throw this thing around, like especially when he's tossing it like 4 stories up in the air to latch onto and swing from.
Especially when he's doing it angrily after Robin just made fun of him. It just looks funny.
It does. I don't think they used that for very long. I think they realized that that was very strange. We do see a return of guns in cartoons, though, which is interesting. Not that
Yeah,
the goons can hit anything.
right. Let's talk about that. What was the film code authority? What was that the thing that forbid you from having things like that in cartoons? I forgot what it was called.
I don't remember exactly what the standard was that you couldn't have certain things in cartoons. It's odd because I'm just thinking back because I know in the 80s GI Joe had guns. I don't think anybody was ever shot by them, but there was guns that were shot around. I think those were actually lasers though, so I think that's how they got away with it. It wasn't actually guns. It
But
was
think of like
lasers.
Looney Tunes is full of guns. Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam, all of them.
Yes.
Marvin the Martian, I guess, has a laser gun, and those are like guns, and people get shot with them.
Yes, just not very injured by those guns.
Right.
Comically injured by those.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. Pretty sure there are episodes where people have gotten shot by guns in the Batman the Animated Series. I don't know if we ever actually see it happen or we see the aftermath. So we see them after they've been hit. So somebody has to attend to them. So I'm not quite sure where it is, but there's automatic fire in this episode. The bad guys are shooting at Batman and they can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Because they forgot to switch their guns off of fully semi-automatic.
True. Or we're going the Die Hard 2 route where both sides know they're fighting each other, so they're firing blanks. So they didn't switch out the ammunition. There's a reference if somebody doesn't know about it. I probably just gave it. Oh no, I spoiled a movie from the 90s. 80s or 90s, I forget which one.
Another one that has been out longer than I've been alive, so there's no excuse. That's my benchmark. If it's older than me, then you have no spoiler protection. But yeah, overall, not a fan of this one. I agree that one of the things we praised about the first one was not only those background animations being so strong, but the characters looking like they're actually alive, actually moving like people would move. And then you take the Joker, who is should it be one of your most animated, for lack of a better word, characters. And that is not there in this for me. There's lots of scenes where he's just kind of holding still and talking. He's holding the microphone up to his mouth as he speaks into the camera. And sure, maybe that's a product of he's supposed to be speaking into a camera, but this is the Joker. He should be moving around. He should be dancing around. He should be very animated. And yet that strength that was in the first episode is not in this one.
That's the thing that really shocked me is that there was a decisive drop in animation quality of this episode. So as we're going through this retrospective of this entire series, being the second one that is actually on the episode list, so this is how it would have been released. We would have had On Leather Wings and Christmas with the Joker would have been the second one. And it's odd that it's such a drop in quality.
It'll be interesting as we watch to keep an eye out to see if this happens again, to see if there's another if there's an episode every once in a while where you notice, maybe the budget got a little tight.
maybe they were saving budget for episodes that they knew were stellar, because there are some really great episodes coming up, and there is some amazing stuff they do with the animation that is some just mind-boggling how they did the effects drawing in 2D like that. And to go to this episode, it's not good. I enjoyed the pie in the face. I don't know why. It brought a smile to my face, because as it was coming, I'm like, oh yeah, Joker's put a pie in the present, and he gets Batman.
Well,
But
this episode felt like a pie in the face.
a lot of the things, I think, from an animation and just motions standpoint, everything felt kind of floaty, where it didn't feel like the gravity that was in the first episode was in this one. Especially Batman is able to catch 3 large people falling towards a vat of melting stuff. We don't exactly, it's some innocuous orange thing that's hot. That's all we know.
Warm Dr. Pepper. Sponsored by. Yeah, I agree. And these felt like drawings. They didn't feel, and I know that's what they are, but they felt like drawings where the first one did not.
And I felt the actions of the characters, especially in that first episode, had a lot of weight to them. There was actually thought put into how these two characters are interacting, especially when you're looking at Man-Bat, who is dragging Batman behind him, trying to shake him from the line so that he can escape. And there's a lot of thought put into that and how they interact. And you get to this one, and they're moving around without that grounded feeling to them. They don't feel like actual elements in the animation as you're drawing it. They just feel like they're images moving around, which is not how you sell the realism of the show. Unfortunately, that being our last stop on this Christmas adventure that we've started.
And it feels like Thanksgiving was just last week.
It does. But looking at it, it feels like we got socks as our final present for Christmas. And not even nice socks. The horrible, itchy wool kind. So hopefully with the next episode on our Batman retrospective, we will end up a little bit better. The next episode that we are going to be doing on this retrospective is Nothing to Fear.
Amazing how you just had that ready to go.
I
This
had
is
it.
so
It was ready,
professional.
right in there. Good to go with it.
I thought maybe you'd have to look that up, but no, you had it ready.
It's amazing. It's amazing what can be done with editing.